Here I want to take a look at how we can bring out some of the colors in order to add to this overall surreal type of a look. Let's zoom into the face. And one of the areas that would be nice to work on is the makeup color on the fingernails and also surrounding the eyes. So here, let's click on our adjustment layer icon and choose color balance. Now with color balance, what I'm going to do is increase the cyan and the blue amount. And I'm going to do this quite significantly. Then I'll go ahead and take this to a blending mode of color. A lot of times when you do that, it'll help you have a bit more texture in the image. Now here we want to invert the mask. Press Command I to do so. Grab your brush tool, and then with your brush tool, what we're going to do is paint with white over these areas. We're just going to bring this color into this area of the photograph. We'll go ahead and do that over here on this side as well. If we make any mistakes, we'll just press the X key and mask that out. Let's also paint with white over the nails here, bring those colors out, and then the nails down here as well. The great thing about this is we can have some just really snappy color, and because we're painting a particular color in, we can be a little bit more quick with our masking here. We can get this looking pretty good with a relatively short amount of time, relatively short amount of effort. All right, just want to fill that out there a little bit. Okay, well here we have our before and then our after. What about the lips? Let's do the same thing. Go to color balance, one more color balance layer. Here we can change the color, and let's see what might be nice with this one. Perhaps go in with a little bit more red in the color of the lips there. I'm not exactly sure, so I'm going to try something. Invert the mask, Command I, and then paint with white over the lips, adding a bit to the pink hue there. And this is a little bit exaggerated, but again, that's what we're going for with this image. Press the X key, and I'm going to lower the opacity down to about 50% and just paint the edges there, because sometimes I find that when you paint away just a little bit of the color, you can make it a touch more believable. So you kind of interrupt the continuity of the color. Take this to a blending mode of color. That will help it see through that a little bit better. Here's before and then after. Now overall, before and after. All right, well the pink's a little bit too strong, so let's lower that down just a bit. The blue, I think that's pretty fun. Okay, well what else could we do with the color? Well, one of the things that I'm feeling is that the background hue, the green, is a bit too muted. I want to really bring that out. I want to create a little bit more separation between the subject and the background. So let's explore how we can modify the background color. Here what we'll do is click on our adjustment layer icon, choose hue saturation, grab the target adjustment tool, and then click in one of these colors. You can see that primarily it's working on the yellows. It's reaching into the greens though. Make a really drastic, horrible adjustment. So this is bad, or sometimes it's helpful to change the color there. And then what you can do is you can move these sliders around so that it's reaching into less and less color. Here you can see that what's happening is it's going to primarily affect the background. I'm going to try to find just the right spot for this. And let's see if we can make an adjustment here. In this case, just really swinging that background color, also a little bit on the cake, but it's not affecting the subject very much because I changed these values. Now, how do these values actually work? Well, what they do is the two middle ones are the color that you're actually selecting. The outer icons here, the little icon with a slant on it, says how far does this reach into other types of color. And what you need to do, of course, is try to find a good spot for this. I'm going to increase the color saturation, and then I think it might be fun to have that background go a bit more green, and then experiment with these. And you'll see that you'll need to open them up perhaps a little bit in order to get a touch more color in there. And in this case, I think by having just a little bit more reach, that background looks a little bit more interesting. Here's before and then after. Also really boosting some of the colors on the cake and a little bit of the color in the hair. So that's my one problem. No big deal. Paint on your mask with a brush tool. So here with the brush tool, I'll go ahead and I'll paint this away. I'm painting with black here so that this doesn't affect the hair as significantly. Of course, I need a little bit of transparency there. I'm also going to paint away the cake. I feel like the yellow here on the cake lost too much dimension, at least on this area around this part of the cake here. It just became a little bit too out of control. But nonetheless, some nice color as long as we mask it into our particular areas. All right, well, what about the pink? Well, let's do the same thing there. Click on our adjustment layer icon. Then go up to Hue Saturation. With the Target Adjustment tool, sample either the color of the cake or the color of the tablecloth, either one, and then make an adjustment which is significant, a really strong adjustment one way or another. Once you've done that, what you're going to need to do is to modify these sliders. You're going to need to try to figure out how you can bring these in so that you affect less and less of the area that you don't want to affect. In this case, one of the things that's happening is I'm seeing it's affecting the dress pretty significantly. So what we might end up doing is making a color change here with a pretty wide reach. In this case, it's really reaching into the dress, into the cup, into the other area of the image. But to have a little bit of a broader reach so that what we can do is just paint it into a particular area. And in this case, I think that's what we're going to have to do because the reds in the image are too close to this color. So here, invert your mask. Press Command-I, grab your brush, and we're going to paint with white just over the area where we want to bring in this color. And we can go ahead and bring that into this portion of the image. Also, let's boost the cake color there a little bit as well, adding a bit more to that. And now we have a pretty nice adjustment. Again, without a lot of effort. And it improves our mask because we spent that time in hue saturation at least trying to get that a little bit better. And so therefore we have some nice color there. And let's look at our color overall. If we double click the Adjustments tab, we can view this. Here we have before our color adjustments, and then here's after some of those adjustments that we've made.